Hey there, what's up? It's Johnny here, and welcome to another episode of the SIC Show. And as always, I'm super pumped to be here, and we've been on hiatus, and it's so good to be back. Welcome to the show, B. How are you, mate?
Oh, good, man. Really good.
Yeah, it's so good to be back, and man, it's sick, bro.
Yeah, I got it here too.
Cool. Anyway, we've got some exciting stuff coming up. Brent's got an awesome story and a few tales to tell us from our trip in the US. And I'm going to inspire you with an image from one of my favourite locations on that trip. And what are we going to do and create, mate?
We're going to edit a model using your new workflow. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. So, Brent, tell us, man, we went on an epic road trip. Tell the viewers what happened, man. What was your favourite part about our 2-week journey around the Southwest in the States?
I think, meeting other photographers, other people that have got courses online too, like Phil and Mike and Sebastian and all these guys. But I think actually seeing these amazing landscapes in Arizona and California and Utah was just incredible.
And Nevada.
For me. Nevada.
We went everywhere, man.
Yeah.
We did like 5,000 kilometres, which is like 3,000 miles in around 9 days or something.
Crazy. We did a lot of traveling. And I think we probably did it too quick. But it was just amazing to see all these places. Zion National Park.
Antelope Canyon, Grand Canyon, Joshua Tree.
Yeah,
oh man, the
incredible.
list goes on.
Yeah. The only regret is we didn't really get to see Yosemite as much as I wanted to, because one of the passes was closed because of snow and I think a rock slide or something. Yeah. So we couldn't get into the southern part of Yosemite, which we'll have to do next time. Next time
we're going to get an RV and we're going to camp out and we're going to take our time a bit slower. And I really want to get to Bryce Canyon, and I know it's a long way, but I need to see Monument Valley. I mean, they're still on my to-do list. Those places are just absolutely epic, man.
Definitely. So, Johnny, inspire us with one of your favourite images.
Cool. There's a thing I always say, and this shot you've probably seen 100,000 times before, guys, but that is not. I have never photographed this place. And one of my favourite things that's going to stand out is Horseshoe Bend, man. Yeah. Horseshoe Bend in the Grand Canyon. It's near Page in Arizona. It's just one of those iconic images you see from the States all the time. And you know what? I went there and I took the photograph that you see everyone else take. We did cheat a little bit, man. We went there at sunrise.
And sunset.
Yeah, we did sunset, but you know what? This image is from sunrise, and I believe sunrise is the better option. I love it. I mean, the light, when it gets high enough, just beams into the canyon, and you get those beautiful magenta tones and the blue water, and we were lucky enough, they've had plenty of rain. You can see on the left-hand side of the image, there's these beautiful greens that wrap around. Just an amazing location, but if you're scared of heights, probably not the place for you to go. It's a long way down, man.
All the people sitting and standing on the edge of that cliff, there's no railing, and if you take one wrong step, that's it. You fall down like 10, 20 stories. I don't know. It's super high. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah. But I tell you what, the thing that grabs me the most is, people like to say, oh yeah, I've seen that image 1,000 times, but you know what? Me personally, this is a bit of a selfish thing. I have never been there to photograph that location. I never experienced it, and I've gone there and created my image of that location, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with going there and taking an image that you've seen 1,000 times, because now I've been there and I've had that experience, and that's it's a selfish thing, but man, I encourage everyone, if there's a place you've seen, an image you've seen, go there and make it your own. And the second part to that, B, and I'll stop talking because I'm excited about this create part, but the second part to that, mate, is you go there and you take the shot you had in mind, but then go ahead and find some different compositions that you haven't seen before. And we did a couple of things. I nearly killed B. I'm leaning over the edge, looking down, and I've got a longer lens on, and I'm shooting portions of the Horseshoe Bend. So I'm just picking out little bits of details, looking down at it, and created some other interesting compositions you don't always see. So that's something I always recommend you do. Try and get the shot you had in mind, but then look for compositions that are different, that you haven't seen before. Use your creativity and get out there and smash it. So
and go away from the crowd. I mean, that's what I did too. There was, everyone's crowded on the edge of the cliffs, and then what I did was I got my shot that I've had in my mind for years, and then I walked away and looked for different compositions and different lenses, different angles. Focus on things that you probably wouldn't have. So we're all shooting landscape orientation to try and get the river as it goes around the mountain. But I shot in portrait a few times.
Yeah.
You know, like up one side of the river or the canyon and the other side. So yeah, you can get really creative in these places that have been shot a million times too.
That's it. And you'd come home with some very unique images.
And you know, one of the things that I really like about going there, you've seen this, you know, in my mind, I've seen this image a million times, but I've never seen the 360-degree image, because you know everyone focuses on that one image. So it's actually good just to go there and look around and take all of it in, because now when I see that image, it reminds me of everything that I witnessed when I was there. The walk down in the cold, freezing cold, by the way.
I had a beanie on, man.
Yeah.
I had to wear shoes. I had to put the thongs or the flip-flops away and had to wear shoes, mate, which is, it doesn't happen real often.
And then you get these tourists that are walking, and they kind of, because it's dark, and they half tripping over their feet and everything, and they're like this far from the edge of a death. And it's just, like, I was actually, I mean, like, I was shaking a little bit because I was so freaked out because of all the people on the edge of the cliffs. Anyway, I don't like heights.
Actually, one thing that the images don't ever show, and this is one thing I'll remember, is how actually far down it is. Like, you look over there, I remember at sunset we look down and there's these kayakers on the edge of the river camping now, and you can see the little toilet and the tracks, and man, it's a long way down. It is huge.
And Johnny, did you have a little faux pas with your filters? What happened to Johnny's filters?
Brand new Nisi filters. I thought, this is a perfect place to get out and try my graduated ND and polarizer, and I got it all out ready to go, and I put it on the lens first time. And the hot tip here is, guys, don't try your new filter system hanging over the edge of the Grand Canyon for the first time, because I put it on, I thought, this is cool, I'm straightening my tripod off, next thing falls off, hits the rock in front of me, smash, and over the edge. And I'm just like, $600, boom, gone. So anyway, you live and learn. I think I'm not meant to own filters, because my last lot of leaf filters, I sat on them or something like that and they cracked. So anyway, doesn't matter. But the tip here is, don't try your new filter system hanging over the Grand Canyon, because it hurts. It hurts bad.
Cool. All right, let's get to the create bit. Let's edit this beautiful modle.
All right, let's get this.
And here's something different, guys, because, you know, right now I'm recommending everyone get Johnny's workflow system, you know, where he edits these amazing images really fast in like 2 minutes or so using this workflow system. And I thought it was only good, really good, optimized for landscapes. However, Johnny tells me he can do it in portraits too. He uses his workflow system with portraits, so I want to check it out.
So you're going to put me to the test, bro?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
So the other thing I want to say too, we've had a couple of questions. And just as I get this configuration ready, we've had a couple of questions here from some of our audience. Chris has asked, how do you make the eyes pop on people? So I'm going to do that as a bit of a ninja tip after the initial edit. And I think it's Paul has also asked how he's having trouble removing things from the skin in Photoshop. So we'll go through that as well, man. I'd love to go through that. So just while I get this configured, Bree, tell us a bit about this shot, mate.
So every year I get invited to this model shootout weekend. So a few photographers, we get together, we rent this massive house somewhere in a really beautiful location, and we invite all these models along, and makeup artists and hair people, and a bunch of creatives just getting together shooting. And I love it, because it's a place where no one's working for anyone. So we're not paying the models, and the models aren't paying the photographers. So it's a collaboration of creatives, and we create these amazing images, and people bring their own clothes and come up with these amazing ideas. And it's just a chance to actually get together and create. And I love it.
That's wicked, man.
This is one of the images from this.
Yeah, it's so powerful when you get a group of creative people together and you feed off each other, man. I love that energy. It's just awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this, brother. I'll just start the recording here, and we'll get this done, man. It's a lovely image too, and I know you've done well here. Tell us how did you shoot this, man? Just give us the 2 seconds of how you shot this. It looks like, was it flash or is that natural light there?
Just look at the settings there, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a look. I shot at 200th a second at 2.8, so you're
85 mil.
Wide open with your beautiful 85 mil.
So I try to restrict myself to the whole weekend shooting with one fixed focal length lens. Why?
Oh, that's amazing.
Because it's a challenge.
Yeah, because you can. That's
Because I can.
Yeah.
So I brought all my other lenses, but this is the lens I used all weekend, my 85 1.8, and I shot this at f2.8 so that I could get that shallow depth of field, get the model in focus, the background out of focus. And there's always a challenge when you're shooting with such a shallow depth of field, is to get the model's eyes in focus and everything else out of focus. And often your camera wants to grab something else, like her lips or her hair or some other contrasty part.
Do you use a single point focus on your camera when you do this? So you're putting the single point in the middle and you focus on the eye and you push the shutter half down, then you reframe because you've got the eye in focus. Recompose and then take it.
So that's the way. Just because I'm used to doing that, photographing thousands of portraits.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, that's what I do too. I actually do it in my landscape. It sounds silly when I put a telephoto lens on and I'm picking details out. I'll use that exact same method in my landscapes as well, man, if I'm hand-holding, you know. So,
definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, let's get in. So, guys, you can see on the left-hand side here, we have the 3C Lightroom workflow, and it's a bunch of stackable presets that are going to show you how to edit the image and give you a full understanding of a post-processing workflow step by step, man, and that's what I love about it. So first thing you can see is crop and straighten, and that's a manual thing that you need to do over here. And I've got to say, guys, one tip is I always like to use this angle to straighten my images, and what I like to do is hover over the settings on the left hand side here, the numbers, and if you hover over that, you see your mouse will change to a little finger, and if you move left and right there, you can see you've got a total control over straightening your horizon, and it's much easier than grabbing the slider, because you grab the slider, it's like woo, 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 and it's like crazy. So but what I'm going to do is double click angle and reset that, and this crop is actually fine, so I'm just going to reset that and close. I don't need to do any cropping, I just wanted to show you that. So the next thing I'm going to do is your white balance, and what's beautiful about these presets here, if you hover over each of these presets, you can see in the navigator here, if you've got that open, it's giving you a preview on what the image is actually going to look like when you apply it. To be honest, I think daylight is pretty nice. It's warmed things up there a little bit, and I'm just going to turn this off, guys. Sorry. There we go. Get rid of that little pop-up. It's annoying, isn't it? Might turn off the Wi-Fi while we're at it too, eh? And then you can see, so we set the white balance, and then we're going to go down and look at exposure. Now, I'm looking at the overall exposure. I'm reading the histogram. So we've got the blacks here, we've got the shadows here, the mid-tones here, the highlights here, and the whites up at this end. And I'm looking overall, this could be brightened up just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to take it up just half a stop there. And you can see it's brought up the image. It's pushed more of the, what am I trying to say, man? Push more of the luminosity data up to the highlights area there. So that's what I'm trying to say. I know what I'm trying to say. That's what coffee's for. And I haven't finished my first coffee yet, so you'll have to forgive me, guys. I'm still halfway through it. So let me just have a sip of that. Oh, that's much better. So we've bumped the whole image up there half a stop, okay? So that's brought up that. Now I'm going to have a look here. The highlights are actually pretty good. I'm not going to touch the highlights yet. And I'm looking at the shadows, and I might just bump those shadows just a touch there. Let's have a look. Beautiful. And the beautiful thing about these presets, if you think you're not sure if you've made the right selection under the shadows, say I can go down here and I can reset the shadows, and it's going to reset them, and then we're going to go again. Let's try that. So we're just making a whole heap of small adjustments. Right, I'm going to set the white and black points now. So if I hold down the shift key, and you can see I've got a prompt there at preset 6 to set the white and black points. If I hold down the shift key here and I click on whites, and I hold down the shift key again and click on blacks, what that's doing is actually in these areas here, Lightroom is pushing up that luminosity data to give you the maximum contrast, okay? So you can see just in a few clicks where we've come. There's before, there's after, there's before, there's after. Yeah. So we've brought the data. If we have a look at the histogram, if I go down here to history, and I put where we started, look at that histogram. You can see it is slightly underexposed there, just by about half a stop or so. And look where we've come just in a few clicks. Look at that. It's already brightened up the image. The colours are starting to pop. Those eyes are starting to look amazing already. Let's go up to the preset. So we're down here. We've done the white and black point. Now contrast. Let's have a look. I don't want to make it too contrasty. You know what I love? I love being able to hover over these presets and see the changes in the navigator. So I'm just going to add a light bit of contrast there, and that's going to help push her out of the background. You can see just by adding that contrast beat, it's starting to bring her face forward and it's darkening the background and lightening her face slightly, and that's starting to give her separation from the background there.
And that's something, you know, that I've, especially with her name's Hannah, so especially with photographing Hannah, is her eyes. So, like, I want her eyes to really pop. The blue coming out like that, and the way you've actually done it, where you've made her skin really brighter, it brings the eyes out too, and the contrast definitely brings that out. So awesome.
And for sure. And one thing I'm looking at for sharpening, okay, guys, we don't want to sharpen skin. You can see we've got a bit of cleaning up there, but I'm looking at this bit of a hair that's in focus because that's going to show me how the sharpening is going. So I'm going to try a bit of light sharpening and just see what happens there. I'll just go up to medium. I think medium's okay, but what we need to do, we need to mask out this area, okay? So I've gone down to the right-hand side and we've gone to the details panel. If I hold down options on Windows, and I think it's options on a Mac, and I think it's Alt on Windows.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. If we hold options down and we want to drag that slider to the right, okay? And everything that's turning black isn't being affected by the sharpening. And there's a couple of things we don't want affected by sharpening. One is definitely that skin, man. Yeah. We don't want to sharpen that skin. We want to keep that nice and soft. But you can see the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair, we want that affected. So that white area is what's being affected by that sharpening. And that's just going to, look, you can already see the difference there. If you, let me see if I turn that off and on. It's very slight. You mightn't see it in the movie, but you can see your skin isn't being affected. So I'm going to zoom back out to 100%. Now I'm going to have a look here. Look, it's been shot at 100 ISO. It's been well exposed. There's going to be absolutely no noise in this image. You know, if you had something underexposed areas, or if you had to shoot at a higher ISO, you know, you would zoom into those dark areas like here. And if you saw any noise, you could add some noise reduction there as well. But this image doesn't need it, mate. So then we get down to the vignette. Let's have a look here. And that's what I love about portraits. You know, most time landscapes, I'll use a light vignette. Yeah. I think I got a feeling. Let's just try the medium vignette there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Makes
one click.
Face pop out of the background.
Yeah. So it's darkened down those edges and left that face nice and light, and she's just glowing out of there, man. Look at that difference.
And one of the things, guys, when I actually photographed this image, I put her on a darker background for this effect. I wanted her skin and her eyes to pop out of the darker background. I photographed her on a lighter background initially before this, and then we took her to that, the darker background, the wood, and also the texture in the background, because you want the model to really pop out, and you want a model's skin to be perfectly smooth, even though no one is in reality like that. But if you put a smooth skin woman against a rough textured dark background, it makes the skin look even smoother.
Oh, wow.
Contrasting,
Oh, there you go. There's a hot tip, man. So now you can see the next areas we've got is vibrance. And guys, with portraits, you want to use vibrance, okay? You do not want to use saturation. Vibrance has got this special guru juice in it that doesn't affect the skin tone area. So you look, just for out of interest, if I went to like heavy saturation, you can see it's made a skin look all pinky and yuck. But if I went to heavy vibrance, you'll see it's not affecting those skin tones as much.
Saturation, eh?
Yeah, thanks, B. Lucky he's here. So I reset the saturation. If I go to like medium vibrance, you'll see it's the same value, but it's not affecting those skin tones.
No.
Okay.
So it's taken her eyes. Her eyes are just more poppy and more vibrant, I guess.
Yeah.
And the lips. So it's taking the colours that you normally get in skins, and not over cooking it.
Yeah, like the saturation does, man. It's just crazy. So you can see, guys, it's taken me a little bit of time to talk you through exactly what I've done, but I've literally done probably about 10 clicks, and I've got to this point, which is amazing. You know, that's the before, that's the after. And to be honest, if I had no more work to do on this image is done, man.
It's done.
It's sharpened. It's ready to go. The colours are beautiful. She's the focus. It's absolutely done. So 10 clicks, I'm done, mate. And that's what I love about this new system, B. It gets me so excited because it's going to help people just absolutely smash out their post-processing, man. But we've got a couple other things we want to do. And one of the questions from Paul is, how do you make the eyes pop? Now, I would say her eyes are pretty darn close to being perfect.
Yeah, they are good.
But if my eyes were a little bit darker and I wanted to bring them up, this is how I'd go about it. So I'm going to go here for the radial filter, and I'm just going to drop a radial filter around this bad boy here. And what I want to do is make sure it's inverted, man. I want to feather that bad boy out to at least 70%, okay? So, right, so what can we do? Well, one thing I would say, which I love, man, is just to bring up that contrast a little bit and push them blacks back a little bit, because it's going to darken up those areas. And then we can just bring up the shadows just a touch there as well. And look, very simple little thing, but it's just brought the colour up in those eyes, okay? Just an absolute tiny bit. And now the other thing you can do, and everyone's eyes are different, guys. You know, this is a beautiful blue eye, so I'd probably even just bring that saturation up a little bit. And it's really hard to tell when you do this adjustment. So what I recommend you do is do the adjustment and then zoom back out and have a look and see what you've done, okay? So I'm going to right-click this now and I'm going to duplicate that filter. And I'm going to drag the other one over here. And I'm just going to slightly resize that and center it there. And let's have a look. So that's before, that's after. Now let's just zoom back out, B. I'm going to hit done. And I just want to make sure that I haven't overcooked those eyes. And I would say they're probably pushed a tiny bit too far for what I would like. They look beautiful, but they're pushing on the point. The saturation probably is just pushing on the point of just...
A little too much.
Yeah, maybe just a touch, man. It's, you know, we're splitting hairs here, B. But I'm just going to back that off a little bit. And this one's actually a little bit lighter as well, a little bit darker, this eye. So I'd probably bring up the shadows in that one just a bit. And you may find you even need to bump the exposure just slightly there. Yeah,
because you want the whites of the eyes to be more white also than is natural.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then it makes the blues even more even more against the white.
What is the first thing you see when you look at this image,
eyes,
man? Yeah, of course. And the most important thing in a portrait is eyes. And I mean, that is just looking killer now. So I do have an extra tip here, B.
Yeah. What happens if you up the whites?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was about to do. So I'm going to go for the brush tool now.
Okay.
I'm going to reset those sliders, man. And I want a really, really soft brush, okay? And what I'm going to do is just paint in these white areas, okay? And you can see, you know, man, what we're doing here is like, this is the cool stuff, the fun stuff. But you got to be careful. You don't want to push them too far because it's going to look fake and look like they've got cat's eyes. Okay. So one thing I like to do with the whites is actually bring down the saturation, and it helps remove those red little wrinkles and stuff.
Can we see where you're painting now? Just hit the O.
Yeah. So we hit the O key. It shows the mask. So you can see I've just painted on that little section there. That's it.
That looks like you've been had a heavy night the night before.
Yeah. It does, be. It does, man. So let's just do a bit of before and after just to make sure. And like I said, I've only brought these up just a touch, but you don't want to go too far, okay? That's looking, that's good, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's just bringing that area up a much. So I'll hold down the space bar there and I can move over to this eye. I'm going to start and just bring up that area in there as well.
Yep.
And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Just take your time with this, guys. I happen to use a Wacom tablet, and it makes it nice and easy to get in there and do this. But now, before you do anything, zoom back out. Make sure you zoom back out and have a look and see where that's at. Yep.
That's
it, man.
That's popping. And actually, when you zoom in there, I can see her contact lenses. So I'm guessing her eyes have actually got the blue because of the contact lenses. I never noticed that before.
Oh, there you go. There you go, man. I didn't even see them. So you can see now, like, her eyes are just absolutely, what is the thing that just pulls you in? It's her eyes, man. So I'm pumped about that. That's looking awesome, man. So here we go, guys. There's the before.
Wow.
There's the after, before, after. And I think that's looking great.
Yeah.
So one other tip too you can do with portraits sometimes. I don't think she needs it, but I'm going to give this tip anyway, B, because I just love sharing the love, mate.
Good.
You know? So I'm going to grab a radial filter.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to drop it around her face. Okay, just like this. But I also want to make sure it's inverted and feathered. And one thing that makes skin look nice and poppy sometimes is to add a little bit of warmth. I mean, I don't think she needs it. I actually like the tone of her skin here. But you can see I've just added, it's the minor bit of warmth. And you can see the background is a bluer, cooler colour over here. It's a bit warmer there, but you can see it's bluer over here. And it adds a nice contrast between the blue tones and the yellow tones of the skin. I actually think she doesn't need it. I like where it was at. But sometimes just warming things up, particularly if you're at the beach and you've got warm tones, or just warming the skin tones up just really helps. And the other thing you can do too, if you didn't get the exposure on the skin right, you can just go for the shadows and open up those shadows and it'll bring more light into that area. And you know what, B?
Actually, it's bringing I'm going to focus on her hair now. Because when you opened up the shadows, it's really making her hair pop.
Yeah, which I think it's actually, I actually don't mind those extra shadows, bringing up more detail in these areas. But why you wouldn't do a global shadow adjustment, B, is because you don't want to open up the shadows on the background. You don't, because you want to take that focus away, you don't, you want to leave that separation. So let's have a look anyway. So I didn't add the warmth because I like where her skin tones are at in this, but often adding a bit of warmth really helps, man. So let's go before, after. And that's beautiful, man. Lovely. I'm loving that.
No, great.
All right, man. So
awesome.
Let's kick her over to Photoshop, dude.
Okay. So So just to recap what Johny did there, he used his workflow preset bundle.
Yep.
Pack, whatever you call it.
Yeah, man. It's called the Ultimate Lightroom Workflow, bro.
Okay, it's Ultimate Lightroom Workflow, and he's edited this image as way faster than you could normally do. And if we weren't explaining every step of the way, we'd probably do it in like 2 or 3 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah. I'd be done in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If I wasn't explaining, man, I'd be 10 clicks and I'd be done. Possibly even with this image because it's so well exposed and everything's so it's been photographed in camera absolutely perfectly. Yeah. I would have it out in probably a minute, mate. And I could probably re-edit it and show you, watch me do it in another minute.
So guys, just below this video, there's a link to grab this Johnny's workflow.
Yep, it's on sale too, man. I'm super pumped right now, guys, because I'm looking for feedback on my new system, and I've actually got 52% off it right now, so it's an absolute bargain, V. Yeah. And I tell you what, man, some of the feedback we've had already, I read one this morning, the absolute best Lightroom preset pack I've ever brought.
Wow.
Yeah, which is huge. Thanks, Dane, by the way. Yeah. You're a champion, buddy. Thanks for the
because it's not just presets. It's basically a workflow, and it's teaching you how to actually do it properly in Lightroom so that you don't overcook your images. And I've noticed a lot of photographers, especially newbies, and I did this a lot, was you tend to overcook things. So those sliders, I mean, you can push them all the way to the right and your image just looks unreal, like from another planet.
Yeah,
but this system, this workflow that Johnny's got there doesn't allow you to do that. You actually can't push them all the way to the right.
No, you can't.
Nope. So, like, for instance, Johnny's heavy saturation is only like 30% to the right.
It's not much.
It's not 100%.
Yeah, we never need that much. If you've got the contrast right in your image and you've set those white and black points, the colours are going to naturally pop. Yeah. You're just adding that little bit of touch extra to bring them out, but you don't need any more than that, man.
No, good.
Yeah, so it's good. All right, we're in Photoshop. We're going to do some skin cleanup and some hair. This is for Paul. Love your work, Paul. Thanks for the question. First thing I'm going to do when I'm in Photoshop, first thing I always do is duplicate the layer. So Command or Control J on the layer, and it's going to create another one. Photoshop is a destructive editor, and I like to be able to roll back just in case I stuff something.
And so, Johny, why are you going to Photoshop and why are you not doing this in Lightroom?
Because Lightroom is great for things like a dust spot in the sky. The spot healing tool there works well. But when you need to actually get serious and move some pixels, there's still things you need Photoshop for. Lightroom just hasn't got there yet with those algorithms. And the spot healing brush on Content Aware, which is what I'm going to use to start off and clean this hair up in a few bits and pieces, is absolute killer for this, man. It just works great.
And that's why, I subscribe to the Adobe Creative Cloud thing, whatever it is, where you get Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. And it's like $8 or $10 a month or something.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Cool. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. I want to go into at least 100%, guys. So you can see down here we're on 100%. And the first thing, actually, I'm just going to go a little bit further here.
A little bit of hair there.
Yeah, let's just see how we go. And all this is a bit of trial and error, guys. And you can see that's pretty much taking care of that there.
So what are you on? No?
So I'm on Content Aware. Sorry. I'm on the spot healing brush, Content Aware. Okay. So the patch tool actually works good for this stuff too, man. So the patch tool is an interesting tool. You can draw a circle around something and you give it an area to detect and let it go, and it actually does a good job too. Okay. And I find sometimes the patch tool or the spot healing brush, you need to bounce between them, man. It just really depends, it really depends. And the nice thing about this brush is you can tell it the area you want it to pull from. So it'll take that texture, take that shading, and you can see, like, if I put it over here, it does an all right job, but if I put it up here closer to the tone it is, or down here, it does a better job. Yeah, totally. It does, man. So there's two ways to go about it. Let's just go here. Go back to the spot healing brush. Actually, that is not the right brush. This is the right brush.
There you go.
Let's deselect that. There we go. We're on our way. We're on our way. So I'm just going to go around. I'm not going to retouch all these guys because this will take some time. But if I just concentrate,
just really quickly,
if I just concentrate on this forehead area, we can show a bit of a before and after. Anyway, we can take care of these little lines if you want.
Yeah.
So it's totally up to you. Yeah. And one thing that's really good about layers, B, which I absolutely love. I mean, this is a model. Okay, if you went and retouched Grandpa's face, it's probably going to look a little bit unnatural.
You think?
Grandpa, we just took 30 years off you, bro. Check this out, man. I mean, I love the liquefy tool, man. I put round my belly and chest out, and I make my arms bigger. And man, you can make yourself look pumped. I love it. It's great. But one thing I was going to say is what you can do now we've duplicated this layer. Say you went round, you retouched all Grandpa's wrinkles, and he looks like he's 14 again. What you can do, it's great, is you can just drop the opacity of the top layer. And what that's going to do, it's going to bring those textures back into the skin. Because when you drop the opacity, you can imagine if we had 2 layers and this one on top, if I drop the how much I can see through this layer, the opacity, it's going to start to show the one underneath. So you're going to bring those textures back.
And then it looks more natural.
Looks more natural because you're bringing back the textures. It mightn't be that deep crevice that Grandpa got when his car accident when he was 18. But it might be, it'll bring back those little things. You need to press record again.
That's going.
Okay, it's all good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought the camera stopped.
No.
Yeah, cool. So that's the little things I'm going to do. Like, you can do this with the eyes too. Remember we had those little things here? So if I go in here, and I stuffed up that one, but okay, I'm going to undo that because that was pretty terrible, man. But you can, if you zoom right in, you should be able to just get up these. Yeah, so you just need to get in a little bit closer and take your time and get the detail.
Okay, right.
So the question Paul had actually, was, I'm sure it was Paul or Chris. Anyway, Chris, Paul, Fred, thanks for the question. The question he had was he was having trouble with things like cleaning up hair and that, and he's getting bleeding. And I got a feeling he might have been using the clone stamp tool. And the clone stamp tool can come in handy in places like, say for instance, right, there was a hair and it went across this area here. Okay, so say this hair went across this area here. Yeah. I would get the clone stamp tool and I could clone stamp this line back in around here, and then I could go for one of these other tools, the patch tool or the spot healing brush, and spot heal brush either side of that, okay? Because if you don't, what will happen is you'll get a big mashed area. Let's see what it does. I didn't do too bad then, but often you'll get a big mashed area where the transition between the 2 colours is, or the 2 textures, and that's the issue Paul's been having. So using a combination of the patch tool and this spot healing brush, make sure you're on content aware, because I think that just works the best. It does a great job. So let's just have a look. So that's before, after. And look at that difference, man. Let me turn down that opacity and I'll show you what I mean. It's starting to bring back, it's hard to see, but it's starting to bring back some of those areas. I wouldn't particularly do it for this image because I think it looks better without it. But you can see, just in a few seconds there, while I've been talking a bit of smack, we've cleaned up a few of those dots, and it's really made things a bit nicer up there. So totally. I think that's looking pretty cool. Look at her forehead compared to her cheeks now, mate.
Yeah.
Like you can see we've just made that look really, really nice in a matter of a few seconds. So I hope that's answered your question, Paul. I hope that's answered your question, Chris and Fred. Great questions. And man, that's it. The ultimate Lightroom workflow preset, cleaning up some skin in Photoshop, and man, good times.
Works for portraits and landscapes.
It's beautiful, dude.
Get it now.
Magic. Yeah. Click the link below. Get 52% off, guys. And I know you're absolutely going to love it. And of course, as always with everything, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is like, there's no risk. I'll buy it back off you. You keep the presets, which, man, you can't get a better deal than that.
And I think you're right, Johnny. This is going to revolutionize how people use Lightroom.
It is.
Because you've got a system now. It's a workflow system, and you just go through it. Boom. Especially, like a lot of times, if I go traveling and I haven't taken my laptop and I come back and it's been a month since I got into Lightroom, you jump back in and you're like, oh yeah, where do I start? Do I start from the top down? Do I start from the bottom up? How far do I push the sliders? And you kind of forget, and you're learning from scratch again, and it might take you a long time, you get frustrated, whatever. Yeah, with this system, you just go 1 to 12, boom, done.
Yeah, 1 to 13 actually.
13?
Yeah, I added
a
special sauce one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Special sauce one at the end.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I added some clarity ones. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I did. Good. I added them and updated the presets just recently.
Okay. See, Johnny's always improving.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You guys can log back in and get the latest version of whatever I do anytime. It's going to be available there. So if I think the system needs to be changed, I'll let you know in one of my emails on the list, and I'll update the link in the course, and you can go and grab them.
Perfect.
Man. So which makes it even better, man. Sharing the love.
And especially when people give you feedback.
I love it.
Like feedback, we change.
That's it.
Make it better.
Yeah, that's why we ask for feedback every time. Every course that gets sold, I send you an email after 24 hours and ask for feedback, because it's so valuable, man, and I really appreciate it. So I appreciate everyone that's purchased it already. It's been going like hotcakes. I'm pumped, man.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
People are already sending me some before and afters of their images, which I'm just so excited that people are actually getting the results they want with their post-processing.
And I'm using it on every single image I edit now.
Yeah, I do too.
I've got a couple of really good blog posts out there, so go check them out, guys. From our trip to the US, I've edited a couple of landscapes, and I'm going to go in and edit another portrait now that I've seen how to do it.
Yeah, man, for sure. Awesome, guys. That's it for this show. Please go and check out the presets. I know you're going to absolutely love them, and man, it's been epic to be back. Yeah. It's been sick, bro.
Yeah, well, it's great to travel, but it's always good to come back home.
Yeah, and I'm super pumped we got the show up again, dude.
Yeah, good.
It's epic, man.
Awesome, guys. Catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye.